Hello and welcome to another episode of these transgenerational conversations, courtesy of NCIC, the Korea International Cooperation Agency, and the United Nations Development Program. With me today, I do have the CEO of the NCIC, that is Dr. Daniel Mutegi, who is also the Commission Secretary. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you, Bonabuvi, for hosting me today.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
NCIC, of course, does a lot as far as ensuring that our country is cohesive, our institutions as well. But I want us to focus a little bit on the institutions. What are some of the efforts NCIC has done to ensure that our institutions have been strengthened and they are, promoting cohesion in the country?
Thank you very much. NCIC, as you know, is an institution that was created as a result of chaos,
Right.
as a result of war, as a result of conflicts that happened in the year 2007 to 2008. And since its inception up to now, we have been working with various stakeholders,
Right.
the government agencies, a platform we call Uyano, where we bring various stakeholders who are keen on promoting peace and cohesion to ensure that institutions can know their mandate, and they can be able to implement their mandate effectively, so that we institutionalize mechanisms of handling conflicts when they arise, mechanisms of addressing the various issues that affect development or that affect communities,
Right.
and also institutionalizing the response mechanisms. That's why, for example, we have something we call IWA, early warning, early response mechanisms, involving the NCIC, involving the Ministry of Interior, involving the national government and administrative officers, the NGAO, involving the interfaith organizations,
Right.
the various private sector. And so we are saying that we must institutionalize or make institutions work for us to be able to address the issues in the country.
Has it been an easy task, or is it a difficult one? Perhaps any challenges, if at all any?
It has not been easy because of various underlying challenges or issues like issues of corruption, issues of misgovernance in some aspect of these programs or these processes, issues also of misunderstanding. Sometimes, Buvi, you find that some of the players may not understand the limits to which their power goes to,
Right.
or how their power should not be used in some cases, and therefore bring a lot of conflict. But we believe that Kenya is a working journey. We are working on Kenya and through with all Kenyans, and we must succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of support from government, and in terms of also acceptance by the public, let's even start from government. Do you get the required support from government to ensure that you can carry out your mandate?
Yes, a lot of government support, because you remember NCIC is, of course, a creature of government created under the Ministry of Interior. We operate, of course, we shouldn't be independent, but because of the way we operate through the Ministry of Interior.
Right.
We have been having a lot of support from top, from the minister, from the PS, from the various NGAO, what we call National Government and Administrative Officers,
Right.
and the various structures of the Ministry of Interior,
Yes.
and the entire government, be it Treasury, be it other government ministries, be it Defense. We have been working, we have been getting support, but because of the environment we're operating in, limited financial resources,
Right.
we are facing some constraint, but which we are addressing through partnerships.
Right.
Like now, our KOICA, Korea International Cooperation Agency,
Right.
the United Nations Development Program, and other partners to fill in the gaps on the financial resource mobilization.
Right.
Yeah.
And in terms of the public and the way they perceive you, do you get interactions coming from the public as opposed to you going to the public to actually get feedback?
Yes, a lot of a lot of feedback, a lot of engagement, a lot of the public wanting us to intervene, for example, in some area. For example, there is someone spewing hate speech.
Right.
The public will always reach out to NCIC, or if there's any conflict, the public will always reach to NCIC NCIC, if there's any issue of right-clear conflict, they also reach to us. If there's also right-clear issue of the opportunities, some people write to us or will reach out to us in terms of this county or this organization is not adhering to diversity, of ethnic and diversity. They will write to us wanting us to go and intervene. So I can say the public has, in fact, the expectations from the public for NCIC are very high, and all the time they are reaching out to us to address one or the other issue.
Yes. Yeah. And as an independent commission, I'm certain that you do a lot of research going into just understanding the levels of cohesion, hate speech, or whatever you call it within your mandate.
Yeah.
And when you go out there and have these conversations with people, what are some of the emerging issues that are coming from the young folk?
When we engage the young people, especially the commission started a serious program to engage the young people in the year 2024, in the wake of the Gen Z revolt that really changed a lot of things in this country. It made even most of the Wandusis to stop using sirens. You know, nowadays you use a siren, the Gen Zs will come to greet you. So the Gen Z, we are seeing, did a lot of accomplishments. And some of the emerging issues when we discuss with them is the issue of working systems. Our Gen Zs, our millennials or any other generation are looking for a system where things work. You know, you go to school, there's a bursary, there's help, there's support, you know, a working system. You have your degree or your diploma or your certificate, you can get a job without bribing anyone. You have, you know, you are sick and you have your SHA registration, you go and get treated. So they are looking for first a working system, because they believe that a working system will address most of the challenges, whether it is corruption, whether it is opportunities, whether, you know, a working system. The other thing that the young people are saying as we interact with them is that they want also to be heard. They do not want us to talk down on them. They want also to be listened to. Because as a commission, we believe that even the young people have something to offer. Their brevity, how they are brave, you know, they are knowledgeable, you know, they are able to use computers, and they have more issues of ICT, you know, they are more innovative, you know. So we need to listen to them as a commission and as a government and as the older generations, for that matter. It's interesting you're mentioning, you know, the old generations, and for the longest, and actually even presently, the old generation will always provide direction. They'll tell us where we're going wrong, because they are wise. They have seen much more than we have, and they know more, and that's a fact. But the young folk right now are rejecting you know, the old people, let me call them that. But they're rejecting that old generation. The older generations,
So for me, I feel like that's a lack of generation, a lack of direction if they actually discard everything. Because I mean, even if it's the political leadership that is coming from that time, they have a lot more to offer. Lakini sasa Gen Z wanasema hataki kusikiza watu wakwenda huko, they can sort themselves out. I don't know, do you feel like they actually can go far if they decide to go that direction alone?
They cannot go far. There's a rule saying that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the rest, or go with people. So the young people must understand that it is not them alone who are brave, or who are wise, or who are courageous. Even their fathers, even their older generations, like the millennials, like the Gen X, the silent or the lost generations, the boomers. At one time, they were also young. People like Deda and Kimathi, when they were fighting for freedom for Mau Mau, were not old. I think General Kimathi became a field marshal at the age of around 29 years. That would count it as being a young person. People like William Mutunga, the former Chief Justice, and others, Itowi Manyara, people fought for second liberation, were doing these things when they were very young. You know, people like Kiraito Morongi, people like Raila Odinga, when they first got incarcerated were young. So we must know that every generation has something good to offer.
Yes.
One. Number two, we must know that the wisdom of the older generations is important for the young people to avoid the pitfalls, to avoid the dangers. You know, sometimes you could be excited about change, but if it is not well guarded or guided, it might lead to a misfiring. You know, it might lead to a miscalculation. And a very good example we give as a commission is the Tunisian revolution, which started what we used to call the Arab Spring revolution. It started by someone in Tunisia burning himself up because they were told to pay something to get a job. Then it spread to the entire Arab nations. But it is only, it was not, that revolution was not able to bring the change because it was not well guided. But contrast that with the change in Senegal.
Yes.
In Senegal, the young people said, enough is enough. We want to elect a government that can listen to us. Therefore, what they do, they ganged up, registered for to vote, and voted a young person who was around 44 years to become their president. And that guy was in jail even by the time they were electing him.
Yes.
And so far, we have seen some progress in Senegal. So what we are saying is that the young people must use the wisdom of the older generations to avoid the pitfalls that can come with unguided, push for change. Because you realize that even the people, the dangers or the evils we are trying to fight, they have their owners, these evils.
Yes.
So these evils, unless you know how to untangle them, unbundle them and deal with the issues as they come, then you deal with it as a wholesome thing, and it might not lead to the change that we want.
Yeah.
So first of all, if the young people are guided, they will start asking, what is the Kenyan problem? First of all, we know that the biggest threat is not each other's tribe or each other's place of origin, but it's more of economic issues. It's about opportunities. Now, what do we do to grow our opportunities? Then that discussion then should continue.
Right.
So, but if we just see one person, maybe in the name of, let's call him Mukenya, and we say this Mukenya is the problem.
Yes.
That will not solve the issue. We need to know, to go to what we call root cause analysis, RCA, to know what is causing this paralysis in the development, and what do we do to resolve the issues.
Yes.
So I believe that the young people should not discard the wisdom of the old people, because it is a foundation upon which now they can build onto their greater achievements.
Interesting that you put it that way. And correct me if I'm wrong. When you look at when you look at the Gen Z uprising, when you look at the times of Akina Dedan Kimathi, even the way they did their revolution, they were in consultation with their seniors at the time. The times of Raila Odinga, the times of Matiba, when they were doing whatever it is that they were doing, they were doing it in consultation with their seniors. And there's a way they were doing those conversations. So for them, I feel like they had that transgenerational conversation, even as they went to their streets and they chanted whatever it is that they chanted. And they were less violent than us. But now when you look at the Gen Zs, they have completely disconnected from their seniors. They actually want nothing to do with them. And you can, I'm sure you've come across conversations where they're saying, come 2027, they'll even take away the ideas of their fathers, and mothers, and their grandfathers, because they believe they are the problem. So now how do you have a conversation with someone who you believe is the problem? You know, first of all, I believe that the Gen Zs are not completely detached from the public or from the older generations. We have seen them cooperate and collaborate with institutions, even NCIC. We have also seen them cooperate with other entities. You know, it's not true that they are completely detached. But what has been lacking is some of the reason why they are not so much overly attached or wanting to engage in transgenerational conversation is lack of trust. What most of the older generations owe to the Gen Z is the need to cultivate a culture of trust.
because no one, even when you deal with when you are mediating, for example, between two opposing sides, you must have some trust, so that to be able to call the opposing sides on the table.
Right.
So what we want institutions to cultivate, and even NCSC and other entities, is to ensure you can be trusted. And how do you get trusted? When you say you have some message, let that message be genuine. Let that need for consultation be genuine.
Right.
Let it be something driven out of genuine desire for change. That's what the Gen Zs are looking for.
Right.
They're looking for someone or some organization, or for a country, or for an older generation that is genuine enough. Like one day when there was a Gen Z in 2024, I attended one space discussion where they hosted the president.
Yes.
And I was listening. And what they were saying is that, Your Excellency, what we need is to have people that can listen to us. And that's why the president listened. And you saw he withdrew the finance bill. He did many things to ensure that the Gen Z's believe that he is listening. You know, when we are listening, it means you can change your position, you can change your viewpoint, and adapt to what is needed. So the trust issue, trust deficit, has been the issue. But I believe we need to cultivate trust, because anyway, even in the traditional societies, when I grow old, I would like my children to take over from where I've left, or from where I've been able to achieve. You know, and that's the secret of the Asian tigers. What we call the Asian tigers. They develop a business today. Later, when they grow old, they let their children continue to run the business.
Yes.
Because of the trust, you know, and the coaching and the mentorship that has been done. So we are saying that for young people to trust us, or to trust the older generations, develop a lot of trust, develop a lot of mentorship, a lot of coaching, and a lot of you know, genuine need for change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trust is a very big issue, because it's actually a very small word, but when you think about it critically, we are lacking that trust between intergenerations.
Yes.
Because if we go back to the issue of the Asian tigers, and let's even take a very good example of China, and we look at how they even do their business. Their cultural business acumen is very different from us. The Japanese culture of doing business, that's a whole area of study, actually. How even their national values when it comes just to productivity. It's a very different world from how we do it here in Africa. And unfortunately, by extension, how we just deal on a one-to-one basis, whether it's on a social in our social circles, we are very we do not have that for lack of a better word, hatuna hiyo spine ya kufanya kazi kama wale watu tunajaribu kujicompare now. Now when it comes to that, our national values, and you know, we have a very nice, for instance, we have a very nice East African anthem, the Kenyan anthem, the national anthem. If you look and you listen to the words, they're very beautiful and they're very rosy. But now when it comes to implementing our vision statement and our mission statement as a country, we are unable to achieve that. And I believe, and I put all the blame on the old generation now. I will because I feel like that wasn't transferred from the founding fathers of this country. What do you have to say about that?
Very good analysis of the Asian tigers and our case here. But all is not lost. I believe the older generations might have somehow inadvertently read to the loss of the national values and ethos. You know, it is the national values that will teach you how to, or will inculcate that behavior. Even the way we throw, for example, papers on the road, for example, when we are eating something, you throw on the road.
A
sweet plastic papers, we throw it anywhere. You know, in some countries, we will not see that happening, because it is ingrained in you that this is not the right place to throw waste. So national values, when you look at the Vision 2030, national values has been identified as one of the enablers or the foundations for the socio-economic development. So that's the issue of what is that one thing that makes you a Kenyan, for example. You know, when you go to Sweden, for example, or Finland, there's something that will tell you this is a Finnish. this is a Swedish,
Yes.
this is an American. You know, there's that thing that makes you distinguishable from the other countries.
Yes.
So that has been lacking to some extent. But again, one unique Kenyan thing is that they are always very united. When they are united to some cause or some pursuit, like the Gen Zs gathered in Nyeri,
Yes.
and now they are saying they want to build an hospital. I don't know whether they will build their own road, their own airport, but they will tell us what they want to do.
Yes.
But what you are saying is that when Kenyans are united, or when Kenyans rally behind an idea, you can be sure they will pursue it to the head. One time, one media, international media, heard a story that Kenya is a hotbed of insecurity
and chaos,
and chaos, and the Kenyans on Twitter,
yes,
they call themselves what,
KOT,
T or whatever.
Yes,
they really sent messages to that media station, and the vice president of that media station, and to come to Kenya to apologize.
Yep.
So that tells you Kenyans, if they want, can rally behind an idea. That ability to rally behind one idea is a unique Kenyan value system. So what we need to do going forward now is to develop a lot of positive value systems for our country to be able to develop.
We portray ourselves as a patriotic country. And that's why that unity comes in.
Yes.
Because we protect our country vehemently.
Yes.
Especially on matters online. Tunaweza kakulipua on X.
On X.
However, I feel like when it comes again just to how we even choose our leadership, how we decide our governance, I don't find that patriotic. Because if we were patriots, there are some people who would never vote for thugs or people who've been associated with crimes such as drugs, illicit trade, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, those are the people we actually trust with our country. I wouldn't consider that patriotic.
Yes, it would be patriotism, but you see, because of the various factors, like for example, lack of proper civic education. We need the Kenyans. Not Aristotle, but this should be Aristotle was saying that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. Democracy is also not very good.
Yes.
And when asked why do you say that democracy may also be a worst form of government, he said because it depends on the quality of the voter. The quality or the capacity of the voter.
Yes.
What we are saying here is that the capacity of most of the voters is inadequate. Although that might be offensive, but in other words,
if it's a fact, then it is a fact.
It is. They are not able to understand when you elect. For example, when you are talking about electing a governor, what are the qualities of a good governor? What are the qualities of a good senator? What are the qualities of a good leader? Women rep, MCA, or things like that. So what we say is that most of the time, the leaders elected into office are a sum total of the population that elected them. So if we see us electing thugs, it means even us, inside us, we are thugs, or we have thuggish behavior or character. So it means unless we change the quality of the voter, we change the way we see leadership. Even the people who are giving themselves into leadership, we must ask the motivation.
Yes.
Why do they want to be elected? We must, as voters, we must start asking, what is the history about them that we have? If someone was maybe in charge of a village cattle dip, and stole the cows or the vaccine, why are you entrusting them with being an MP or with a governor? So if anybody has any record of criminality, why should you elect them as a leader?
Yes.
So it's upon the voter, but this is a two-way system. The voter needs to do something, and also those offering themselves into leadership needs to have genuine desire for change in Kenya.
Right.
Otherwise, some people should never be near a position of leadership because we know they are not really motivated by genuine desire for change. And that's why the young people, for example,
Yes.
are insisting that we reset the kind of leaders that we elect.
And it's a good thing they insist that we
Yeah.
reset leadership and probably, get fresh blood. I don't know if it's fresh blood, young blood, but the point is we need new blood.
Yeah, we need new thinking.
Yes, to inject into that system.
Yeah, we need new thinking and new ways of doing things.
Now, how do we achieve that, CEO, if the things that we are currently facing right now, the hurdles, the challenges we are facing right now, seem to be becoming difficult and harder every single time?
Yeah.
And I'll give you a very good example. The young people want to not register but become leaders, or at least even decide who's going to lead them come the next general election.
Yes.
But when we look at the latest statistics from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, young people are not registering.
Yeah.
They are not taking up IDs. So how do we achieve this if civically we are still not aware of what we're supposed to do?
We must. This is a challenge that we can surmount or we can undo.
Right.
The young people must know that the median age in Kenya is 20 years. Meaning, if we take our 57 million people and they dump them together, the common age that will appear is 20 years. Meaning, the largest number, about 75% of the population in Kenya is basically young people under 35 years. Now, these are people who are sophisticated enough. These are people who can access information. These are people who know what a united force can do. These are people who have seen how the young people in Senegal were able to elect a 44-year-old president. So what they need to know is that change in Kenya, for you to bring a change in government in Kenya, it is not through unconstitutional means. It is not through coups or through any other way. It is through the ballot. And the president sent it in Meru the other day, last week, that if you want to bring change in Kenya, get a vote. Go and register to vote. Because you cannot change, because if we change government through any other way apart from through the ballot, we risk the danger of affecting much more people negatively than would be affected by any government. So we are saying that let young people know that to change government, you need to use legally accepted means. And the legally accepted means is through the ballot.
Yes.
And once someone is elected through the ballot, you must give them time to deliver on their mandate.
Right.
And then you can evaluate that at the end of the 5 years. But the only way is to get a vote. Because the vote, if you don't vote, you are voting for the band leader. So most of all these band leaders that the young people keep saying or mentioning are simply elected by young people or by people who did not go to vote. In most of these cases, people who are enlightened and the people who have their mobile phones, social media, will not go to the polling station. They will wait for the evening to wait for the results to be announced. Then they will start saying, we are winning, we are losing, we are winning, losing. But you do not go to vote. So you must register now, and then you wait for 2027. Then you can confirm. The government is always ready to be confirmed or rejected. True. It is upon the voters to confirm or reject. So the only way to do that is to get registered. Right. And this is the time. And statistically, there are about 8 million young people who have attained the majority age of 18 years who should register. So we are waiting to see these young people who have been yearning for change, whether they will reach this target of 8 million. Right. If they don't reach something nearby, we will think that their energy, they're not using the energy very well. Let them register.
Daktari, 8 million also is the number of people who didn't vote in 2022. Specifically the young people, the young generation. And that's a very huge constituency.
That's a huge constituency.
Why do you think they are apathetic? Because you'd think that these are the people who are most interested in securing their future.
The reason why they are most apathetic, they have told us as NCIC, is that they don't see any genuine change coming. They don't trust even the electoral process. They don't trust even, the institutions. But I'm telling them, these institutions are made by them. These institutions are there. For example, if you think there's an institution that is not doing the way it should do, write a petition. Write the way they gathered in Nyeri. Gather and write a petition in an harmonious way, submit it to the authority. Let us hear that 100,000 young people presented their petitions to the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Right.
I haven't seen any petition submitted by the young people. Right. I haven't seen any organized voice where you have representatives who go to see maybe the minister, or who go to State House, or who go to National Assembly or Senate or Chief Justice, because all these are three arms of government matter insofar as addressing the issue of trust, addressing the issue of believability. You know, the young people, the reason why they don't even trust even the whole process is that they believe maybe the process is charried, it's not to be trusted, it is not genuine. But I want to assure them that young people are a force to reckon with. Look at their 2024 uprising.
Yes.
It made one of the youngest ministers, someone who had a net worth of, he said that young man said he had how many million? He had only 3.5 million or something like that.
Right.
From Meru, my neighboring county.
Right.
He said he had only very little wealth. Engineer Eric Mureithi Mugaa, and he was made a minister because of the force of the young people.
Yes.
So these young people, if they can marshal, they can organize, they can rally behind a cause, they can achieve it. And even when we lobbied for the second liberation, it was by young Turks who said Moi must go, who said we must change the constitution, and they making sure that we had a new constitution.
Yes.
So we can marshal the young people, their forces, their strength to change the way things are done.
I was having a conversation some time back with Professor Lumumba, Piero Lumumba.
Yeah, Piero, yes.
And one thing that came out of our conversation, we noticed that perhaps young people are not politically aware.
Yeah.
And that is a worrying, state of affairs.
Yes.
They are unable to discern who to elect at what point and for what purpose. Perhaps they're even unable to articulate some of the issues that are facing them. Where do you think the rain started beating us as far as that aspect is concerned?
Thank you, Buvi. I think, first of all, young people must not disassociate themselves from politics. Okay. Aristotle, again, let me go back to one of the founders of the modern academy, right. Aristotle said that, or quoted, that there are three things that matter in life, arranged in that manner. Number one, he said, is politics. Number two, he said, is capital or money. Number three, he said, it is education. Arranged in that manner. So number one, politics. Number two, capital or money.
Yes.
Number three, education.
Right.
So politics is very important. You should not, the reason why the young people or the other generations have shunned politics is because politics is associated with the hooliganism, goons, conflict, thugs. One time, one renowned renowned personality in Kenya, Mutegi Giti, saying that politics is a fellowship of thugs. He said that on media. So what we are saying is that the reason why young people, most people, even Christians, even religious people, most of them shy away from politics because they believe politics is a dirty game. Politics is for the bad or for the wicked. No. Politics should be prayed, should be engaged by each and every Kenyan, because it is through politics that resources get allocated. Let me quote one professor called Professor Isaiah Kindiki, who says that politics is about resource allocation. Politics is about who gets what, where, when, and how. That is politics. So if our people don't pray politics, they will be missing the big mark.
Yes.
Because it is politics for the young people, if they don't remember, that brought us Mwai Kibaki, when Mwai Kibaki came through the ballot, he made a lot of changes in this country. He made it sure that, before Kibaki, all the universities used to have one chancellor.
Yes.
In the name of the president. So you would wait for the time the president is available for you to go to graduate. If he's not available this year, then wait for next year.
Yes.
But then Kibaki comes and says, no. Every university should have their own chancellor. Should run. It's only Masinde Muliro that refused to them. And they said, no, we must retain Kibaki.
Yes.
All the other universities go to their own chancellors. It is through politics that when William Ruto came from Uhuru Kenyatta, he said we must enhance the Linda Mama program and the other programs. So the any change you see is because of political moves. So if you don't associate yourself with the politics, you are associating yourself with the failure.
Yes.
So you must be able to decide whom do you want. You must even discuss about those candidates. You must even educate. If you're a young person, tell your parents about these candidates.
Right.
Tell your people about this. Why are you're not voting for this or not this? But do so in a cool manner, in a civil manner. You can agree to disagree.
Right.
You can agree to agree and disagree to agree to disagree.
Yes.
But what we are saying is that let your opinion be heard. Let your opinion count, because they say the majority have their way.
Yes.
The minority have their say.
Yes.
So even if after an election you had a certain idea,
yes,
and it didn't sail through, but at least people know you are propagating a certain idea. So even if it didn't win,
you stood for something.
It stood for something.
Right.
So let our young people stand for something. Let them not shun politics. Let them engage. If, for example, they ganged up, they could elect everybody. If you are 75%.
You have actually said that the majority have their way, and the minority have their say. So the youth are the majority.
The majority are the majority.
And they can have their way.
They can have their way.
Yeah.
So it's them to use their way well. Because, again, it depends on biblically. I'm a Christian. I believe that there's a verse in the Bible in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 that says, ask and you shall get. Knock, the doors will be open. So it's upon the young people to knock onto the politics.
Right.
Kwame Nkrumah, one of the founding leaders or president in Africa, said just paraphrased Matthew chapter 6 verse 33 that says, seek ye the kingdom of God. Then he said, Kwame Nkrumah said, seek ye the political kingdom and all the goods will come. Exactly. So what I tell the young people, the Gen Z, the millennials or whoever, is that seek ye the political kingdom and all the rest shall be added.
How do the independent constitutional offices, commissions, how can they join into this transgenerational conversation? Because NCIC has pioneered it, but we need more voices, and especially voices in leadership. How can we get involved, all of us?
Well, the constitutional commissions normally have a platform where they meet once in a quarter or in some months.
You have your own WhatsApp group.
We have our own WhatsApp group, and even the CEOs. Now, for example, for me,
right,
CEOs have their own WhatsApp group. The CEOs we have in Kenya, and we have been rallying behind the core of NCIC for transgenerational conversations. Most of the CEOs in their various organizations have been very proactive to engage the young people, to seek to know what are their issues, what are their challenges, what can we do better. And I believe that going forward in the next 23 or 24 months before we go to the 2022 general election, you are going to see a more concerted efforts from the constitutional commissions and independent offices and various departments, ministries and agencies to engage the young people in a. That's why the government, for example, has come up with the Nyota program.
Right.
This Nyota program, the 5 billion worth of a program, is meant to incubate and to provide seed capital for various young people who want to start business. And we are saying that through proper training and through proper engagement, young people can thrive in entrepreneurship,
right,
and in other aspects of life.
Yeah. How can government institutions start gaining the trust of young people to actually have them now come to the table? Because clearly there's a table now.
Yeah.
And you know it is there because former Prime Minister Raila Odinga did mention that, look, we need to have a conversation, a transgenerational conversation.
Yes.
So how then do we start gaining the trust of these young people?
For simply, Bovi, to gain the trust of the young people, we have to show genuine need for change. We have to show genuine concern for their pride. We have to understand that they also have something to offer. We have to understand it from a philosopher called Fanon, who said that each generation must realize the honor, the duty bestowed upon them to change, and must not betray this honor. So the generation of Gen X must know that they have been bestowed upon them a lot of responsibilities for changing the way we do things, for changing the way we approach things, and therefore they must not betray that responsibility that they have been given. Therefore, they must, of course, they must be available when the authorities look for them.
Right.
But on the side of the public sector, on the side of government, whether judiciary, the legislature, or the executive, there must be genuine concerns towards dialogue, for example, towards transgenerational conversation, towards reforms, towards equal opportunities,
right.
you know, because what the young people are looking for is our opportunities.
Yes.
I must say that if someone is engaged and you call for demonstrations, the people who are engaged will not go for demonstrations because they have something to do. So you must know that the biggest threat that we have is people who have no opportunities. Once people have opportunities, Kenyans are hardworking. They will improve their lives and they will pull on others who are behind them, and Kenya will go far. So what we need to do is to create equal opportunities for all. And I'm sure that is what the government is concerned about, and that is what all public sector entities must be able to pursue going forward.
One avenue also of transgenerational engagement is through mentorship.
Yeah.
NCIC obviously pioneered this conversation.
Yeah.
What other ways can we ensure that we are mentoring young people? And you've said it very well, the Gen Xers. Pioneer the generations that have followed, so that indeed we can see a future that might not happen tomorrow, but in another 5-10 years we'll start seeing those fruits and changes. So mentorship, we have been trying, of course, government as a whole has been trying the idea of internships and attachments, which it's a mandatory thing in most of the government performance contracting. In fact, government agencies, I'm coming from Vision 2030, where we used to access how various ministries, departments, and agencies are giving internships to the young people, and meaningful internships, not just by meaning of it. Not just interns who initially used to go for mandazis and for other centuries. We are saying meaningful internships where the young people are given meaningful roles, meaningful duties to perform. And that's what we are doing at the NCIC. We ensure we engage our interns to do all manner of tasks, mentor, not the manual ones, so that they are able to develop their mental aptitudes, and they are able to, after that, go to now full-time work, be able to deliver. Again, the other issue is that for the private sector, one thing we have been missing in this debate is that, according to the design of the Vision 2030, the government of Kenya was to do 30% of our development. And private sector were to do 70%. In any economy, the biggest employer is the private sector, is the MSMEs. Even currently, about 85% of Kenyans are employed in the informal sector. So the formal sector only employs 15%. So what we need to do is that, as this discussion continues, we need to bring on board various actors in the private sector, KEPSA, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, all entities, KEPSA, KMA, Kenya Bankers Association, all these organizations, to be able to let them know that they should leverage
on the existing peace in Kenya, existing cohesion in Kenya, to create more opportunities so that now it can supplement what the government has been doing. What I see people doing is that blaming the government, and I'm not defending the government here,
yes.
but I see people blaming the government for all challenges.
Yes.
No. The challenges should also be borne or shared by the private sector, because the role of government is to create an enabling environment. We have, for example, created a good infrastructure, a good internet, broadband internet. Now we are dealing with 5G in Kenya in terms of internet.
Yes.
So it is upon government, private sector now, to build onto that,
yes.
and to create more opportunities, to broaden the cake, make the cake bigger, using the mechanisms or the framework created by the government.
All right. Yeah. Finally, Daktari, as we come to a close, how do we restore decency in our politics? And the NCIC has got a huge role to play as far as that is concerned.
Yes.
I will leave this one to you to answer in whichever way you'll answer.
Yes.
How do we restore dignity in our politics, decency, so that we can actually, and as young people engage, they can see, you know what, this is actually a career, not to enrich myself, but actually bring change to my people. Yes.
So NCIC, thank you. NCIC in the past, as or in the 2022 general election, for example, made all the political parties and all the politicians to sign something we used to call political decency charter. So whereby you commit yourself as a politician or as an aspiring politician to behave, to act, and stay in a certain manner. So I think going forward, we want to collaborate with the other governance and electoral bodies to ensure that we start signing that thing now. Even before we go to the elections, so that now anybody who violates that charter, we have a basis for either rejecting them. You know, we want to have a system where NCIC can also be part of the agencies that clear you as a politician to vie. So if we say this guy has been accused of verbal diarrhea, we should not clear you. The IMBC should not clear you to run. So we are in Parliament. We are in the National Assembly, trying to have our NCIC Act amended to give us more teeth in terms of controlling hate speech, in terms of arresting people who go on the social media and draw all manner of caricatures, abusing the media freedom and the freedoms we enjoy.
Yes.
So we are trying to get our act amended. Our act predates the Constitution. It was enacted in 2008. And before the Constitution came in 2010. So some of the terms there includes provincial administration, includes PC, and these people are no longer there. And number two, it did not capture the issue of social media. And the biggest hatred, the biggest hate speech, the biggest misinformation, disinformation, miscommunication is happening in the social media.
Yes.
You saw what was happening in the weekend.
Right.
I don't want to say. You people in the media know.
Yes.
This ostensibly they are deciding someone is dead and it was being shared. So what we need to do is we need to get our law changed in a way that we are able to address the emerging challenges like the social media, like the Gen Z generation that is more using a lot of AI, for example, and things like that.
Right.
But the political decency charter, we want it to be part of the electoral architecture, so that it is entrenched in law, for example, that if you are severally been arrested or taken to court on the issue of hate speech, for example, or ethnic bigotry, you should not be cleared. Because we must make politics decent, so that young people can be attracted to politics. We do not want politics where it is about fight, about who is bigger, who is stronger,
actually
who is mightier.
Are the ones that are attracted mostly to politics.
Yes. So we should be able to make it anybody, even whoever, can be able to freely participate, sell the idea. If your idea is absorbed by the majority, they elect you, then you have your 5 years to do your mandate, then you can evaluate after 5 years and see whether you can retain it or not.
Right. And Doctor, you're right, because if we actually put that kichungi tutatoa watu wengi sana.
Yes.
Let me say bad elements.
Yes, bad elements.
Yes, we shall be able to take care of a lot of bad elements. And I support you on that proposal.
We are.
And I pray you get your way as far as that is concerned.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Daktari. This is where we come to a close as far as that conversation is concerned. But we invite you again. Tupatie haya maarifa because tunayahitaji. And this is part of a transgenerational conversation, by the way.
Thank you.
Karibu tena.
Thank you for the good work we are doing.
Right.
You know, the media, one of the American presidents, should be Harry Truman, said that if he was given government without newspapers, or newspapers without government, he would choose newspapers without government.
Right.
Meaning he would choose the media. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Daniel Mutegi. He is the CEO of the NCIC and also the Commission Secretary. But this is where we come to a close. We want to appreciate our partners. That is the Korea International Cooperation Agency and the United Nations Development Program. But for now, tunasema kwaheri, tupatane tena on the next particular episode. See you.